Welcome to the Thai Expat Daily Show. We are a new commentary news channel bringing you all the latest stories from Thailand and beyond. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel to receive updates on new content. So let's get into today's top stories. The top stories of today: face mask compulsory nationwide, all foreigners eligible for COVID-19 vaccination under Thailand's vaccination plan, and exhaustive checks for Phuket arrivals. A story that appeared this week was in relation to face masks being compulsory nationwide. This is a story that has actually been in the TAT, the Tourism Association of Thailand, and to remind everyone that it is basically illegal to go outside without a face mask, and that you can be fined up to 20,000 Thai baht if you're caught without your face mask on outside. Indeed, the Prime Minister of Thailand this week was embarrassingly caught without his mask in a meeting and ended up being fined 6,000 Thai baht for his indiscretion. So if they're going to find the Prime Minister, you can be certainly sure they're going to fine you if you don't do it. Now, there's been also more information in relation to this, that this also applies if you're driving in your car. Now, if you're a single driver in your car and you're alone, you do not need to wear your mask. But if you do have a passenger or multiple passengers, everyone in the car must be wearing the mask. So please don't get caught with this, because it's kind of a tricky technicality, if you like. And as expats, let's try to do the right thing. We don't want Thai people pointing the finger at us and saying we're not doing it. Look at these expats. They don't want to follow the rules, the regulations. So let's make sure that we're doing it so we can't be blamed for things. I did see a story this week in relation to the vice governor in Phuket, who seemed to be wanting to put blame on foreigners for not wearing masks. And I guess when you do the math, though, I mean, there's 11,000 foreigners in Phuket and a population of nearly 450, 500,000 people. The amount is tiny. I certainly see a lot of Thai people not wearing masks. Personally, when I look down to my Facebook timeline, I see photos of people everywhere with no masks on, friends and acquaintances. And, if you look on other social media platforms such as TikTok, etc., you will find an awful lot of people, Thai people, not wearing masks. So, I think it needs to be said, it's not just foreigners, it's everyone. Everyone has a duty to wear the mask, follow the law, and let's get through this current pandemic. And I think it's important that we do what we're being told to do. It's for our own safety. So if you're out there and you're going to walk outside, put your mask on, do the right thing, and that's really it. One of the top trending stories this week has been in relation to whether or not foreigners would be eligible for the COVID-19 vaccine under Thailand's vaccination plan, which is actually, or started rolling out yesterday on the 1st of May. Just to go back a couple of days in relation to it, all expats living in Thailand are eligible to receive the COVID-19 vaccine, according to the deputy spokesman for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. He says Thailand plans to roll out a massive vaccination plan to all people who are living in Thailand, including foreign residents. All people residing in Thailand, regardless of nationality, are eligible to receive the vaccine under the plan. He made the announcement during the Center for COVID-19 Situation Administration's daily briefing. He said that the plan for foreigners residing in Thailand will be released at a later date. Now, that brings us to what has happened since then. So yesterday, the More Prom app was released on the app stores, and people were able to register to get a vaccine. What is noteworthy and what seemed to be available on Twitter was that actual foreigners who had either a Thai ID, pink card, or foreigners who had social security numbers could register on the app. And some people, some foreigners who were in the criteria to be vaccinated, 60 plus, were able to actually make vaccine reservations. So they received a date and a time and a hospital for when they would get the vaccine, which would be starting in June. It's a little bit of a surprise because at the end of the day, the government has yet to confirm when foreigners can get the vaccine. And if it was as simple as using the More Prom app, I think they would have made an announcement about it. For me, I hope people who've made bookings will actually get to have the vaccine. However, I'm not convinced. I'm still thinking this is an error on the back end of this app, which has somehow allowed foreigners to register because the app doesn't recognize that their 13-digit code is actually one for a foreigner beginning with the number 6. So what I think has happened is that it's just allowed people to make a reservation. And I fear that next week we're going to hear or see a rollback on this with a system error being used as the reason why foreigners won't be getting vaccinated in June. Now, to me, this is ridiculous. I believe that everyone who is resident here in Thailand should be vaccinated, regardless of where they come from, the color of their skin, how old they are. They should be all in the national plan because it benefits everyone for everyone to be vaccinated. And I truly hope that the Thai government understand that it's perceived as discriminatory when you don't include people who pay taxes, who retire here, who come to get educated here, who are in all aspects of life in Thailand. People have families, have children, have wives, and they're being told no, no, no. And I think at some point the Thai government need to recognize this is not the correct plan and the way forward. I know from my own personal experience that this is a highly discriminatory practice, and the concept of Thais only is a policy from the Department of Public Health. And any documentation that comes specifically mention Thai citizens only. So this is a Thai citizen policy. And I do think that people who have registered to get vaccinated are not going to be getting their vaccine. Although the system says you're going to be, when you arrive at the vaccination center, it could be an entirely different thing. So let's take this with a grain of salt for a while and see how it progresses. Whether or not there'll be a rollback from the government and maybe some of these reservations will end up being cancelled, or what's going to go on. Personally speaking, the way I see it, I see foreigners are at the back of the list right now. I can't see us being vaccinated anytime soon. The obvious way forward for the government to fix this would be allow private hospitals to import vaccines and allow them to sell to expats through the private hospital system. Therefore, foreigners who are not happy about getting maybe a Chinese vaccine or a AstraZeneca maybe would have a choice of Pfizer or Moderna or Johnson & Johnson and one of these vaccines. And obviously they're going to have to pay for these vaccines. But I think a great many expats here in Thailand would be happy to go that route. I personally myself as a person would be delighted to go down that route. So let's see what happens in the next couple of days and whether or not they will honor the reservations that have been made to the More Prom app, or whether they're going to roll back it and come up with a reason why these will not be honored. I think also it is, as I said, very beneficial for the government to start getting private hospitals involved. And the more people who are vaccinated, the better the country will be, and the quicker it can return to some kind of normality. A normality where there's international tourism, people can travel, people can get on with their day-to-day life. So tell me, what do you think? Do you think all foreigners should be vaccinated that are living, working, residing in Thailand? Do you think they should pay for it? I'd love to know your opinion. So leave it down in the comments and we'll have a discussion there. The last story of today is in relation to anyone thinking of traveling to Phuket. Phuket now has become basically a sealed off island, and there are two ports of entry. The first port is the airport, and the second is the Tatachai checkpoint, which is at the Saracen Bridge. These are the two ways for you to get onto the island. The criteria to enter the island are as follows. 1, you either have a vaccine certificate showing that you've had a vaccine with both shots. The second is that you have a PCR test not more than 72 hours old showing negative for COVID-19. And if you have neither of them, you have to do a rapid antigen test. The test costs 500 Thai baht for expats and it's free for Thai citizens. Now, there is big debate about whether or not this is fair or not fair, and I don't believe it's fair at all, especially for expats who are working here and paying income tax and paying into this social health fund. This should be already covered. But again, a little bit of what I call Thai discrimination going on here, and let's try get money out of the foreigners to cover the fact that we're giving it to Thai people for free. As I said, once you get onto the island, you're free to do what you want. These rules apply, as I said, at both the airport and at the road checkpoint coming in. Don't forget, if you live in Phuket and you leave Phuket for whether it's an hour, a day, or 2 days, you have to do a rapid antigen test to get back onto the island. There is no way of getting around that. They are the rules right now. These rules are in force until the 12th of May. That's when the provincial decree will expire. And I guess it'll be based on whether the COVID is more under control, declining numbers, whether or not they'll extend that, or whether they'll rescind the order. So we have to wait and find out. Well, that's it for today. Thanks for tuning in, and we hope you will subscribe to receive more content in the future. Have a great day and stay safe.